मेरा ख्याल है फिर पढ़ लेंगे।
Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, Assalamualaikum, Ji Ayanu, Pakhair Agale, Ni Hao, Chunashumme, Washmale, Ohai Gunzaimas, Guten Morgen, Hola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifa Hal, Hale Shuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasal Marhaba, Buna, Mucho Gracias, Swabi, Ab Balli Kare Aya, Hosh Galden and Ayo Sayo, Khuya Mora, Chi Bato, Chi Hal Jod, Kalimera, Khairutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Hajra Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hasan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your week with us. But first things first, oh, it's too cold, Hajra. How are you feeling today?
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for introducing me. Certainly it is getting cold. Why is it cold? Because we are living in Islamabad and it is right across the foothills of the Magala, and right across the Magala we are facing the Malkai Kohsar, or the Queen of the Kohsar. And the good news for all of the tourists that there has been a snowfall in the Galyat, Murray, and it has turned into a wonderland. The scenic tourist destination of Murray and Galyat have been blanketed with the season's first snowfall, attracting tourists from far and wide. The snowfall has added to the region's natural beauty, but has also prompted cautionary measures from the authorities. And the snowfall has turned the mountainous region into a winter wonderland, drawing the crowds of the tourists eager to experience the breathtaking sights. And obviously, this is the weather update, and to further contemplate on the weather updates, we are very glad that we have been joined by Meher Saab. Assalamu alaikum, Meher, and thank you so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you, please?
Alhamdulillah, sir, and we have witnessed the first snow, and I think it's a really good news for all of us, because the weather is really turning cold and we were vying for that cold. So please tell us the details about how is the weather going to be in the coming days. Are we going to witness some rainfall here or the snow, and how will the weather turn up across the Pakistan?
Yes, really, yesterday weather was very fine, and in some areas of the northern part of the country, snow was enjoyed by the people. So Murray also witnessed first of its this snowfall event, and though this week it is not likely to be the weather. Other than this, we can say that most of the weather will be dry, cold, in the colder weather in the northern part of the country. So this is the dry week, and after that maybe there any events that may pass from the northern part, but plain areas will be feeling much colder weathers, and temperature may drop just like up to the 4 degrees centigrade, and there will be frost in some areas of the northern part up to Gujarat, Gujranwala, Kashmir areas, and up to Sargodha. But this frost will further deepens in the coming days during the dry seasons after 2 weeks. That will also occur in the plain areas of the Punjab.
And Meher Saab, in addition to this, I think what we really need to kind of talk about over here is, obviously, this is something that we were vying for, that okay, Islamabad used to touch 0 degrees and whatnot, but unfortunately in the past few years we have seen that if it has started to snowfall, unfortunately the situations got out of our hands as well, and we have seen a few mishaps taking place. So for all of those people who are out there, is there an advisory, which is being released for the people who are actually making way towards Galyat region or the north region of the Pakistan?
Day before yesterday, advisory was not issued, but the weather, local weather that was reported by the PMD, it was reported that there are chances of snowfall in some areas of the Murray and Galyat. So actually, the people, one thing which I must have to tell the people through this PTV World, that the people are not taking serious to the forecast of the Pakistan Met Department. I am really very sorry. The people take the weather from the Weather Wale or some other private peoples. So they are not actually reporting the real weather forecast. So I would like to request to these people, and you also ask them, whenever they will have to check the weather about the weather, they should have to see the weather through our website. Really, it is a very not a good practice by the people.
All right. Mayor Sahab, obviously, certainly, we are going to recommend this to our audiences out there as well. For people in Pakistan, please make sure that you log on to PMD's website as well to kind of get the real update on weather. But in addition to this, obviously, in the past few weeks, we have seen that there was the phenomena of smoke, which unfortunately Pakistan is engulfed with. And due to the change in wind direction, the smog went away. Do you think that in days to come, alongside fog, we might witness a phenomena of smog as well?
No, smog is not more, no more no in the coming days. Fog may be, but there is no phenomena of smog in the in near future, or even that cannot. You can say that it cannot be repeated. Because the temperatures are now going to be at the freezing level, even in Lahore or some other areas of the Punjab, that will reduce up to the 0 degrees centigrade. So during this situation, there is no smog and fog, but fog may occur in the later this month or the beginning of the new year.
Thank you so much, Mayor Saab, for updating us on the weather updates. And now, since it has to be 9th of December, we are also observing the International Anti-Corruption Day. So, International Anti-Corruption Day is observed on 9th of December to raise the awareness about the detrimental effects of the corruption on the societies and the economies. The date has been chosen because it reflects the anniversary of the adoption of the United Nations Convention Against the Corruption in 2003. The day emphasizes the need to tackle the corruption and its far-reaching consequences and seeks to mobilize individuals, governments and organizations to take a stand against corruption. This year's theme is Uniting with the Youth Against the Corruption, Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity. And I think corruption comes in a lot of forms. It's not just the financial corruptions, it is also the moral corruption. It is also the corruption which lies in our heart and the corruption that obviously we see in the societies, in the economy.
And in addition to this, I think that, for all of those people who are out there on this day, I know that it might not be very relevant according to this day, but I think people whose heart have actually been off from other people, please make sure that you kind of find your way back to all of those people who've been once your friend or those worthy family members. So please make sure that you have this open heart, forgive everybody else as well. But yes, say no to corruption, ladies and gentlemen. In addition to this, obviously, since, I'm very inclined to speak about sports as well. So ladies and gentlemen, imagine that FIFA Women's International Friendly match, Pakistan versus Saudi Arabia, ends in 1-1 draw. Wow, that's a fantastic news. The FIFA Women's International Friendly Football match between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia ended, as I mentioned, 1-1 draw. Saudi Arabia took the lead in the first half with a goal from Tala Al-Ghamdi in the 39th minute. The match remained in favor of Saudi Arabia until the closing moments when Pakistan's Sohail equalized with a brilliant corner kick goal in the 88th minute. Wow, congratulations.
Right. And I think further capitalizing this momentum that is also already on the sports, we are going to focus our attention on the Pakistan's blind cricket team because it has played wonderfully well, and we want to have the insights directly coming from the chairperson of Pakistan Blind Cricket Council. He happens to be Syed Sultan Shah. So Syed Sultan Shah Saab, since he has been mentoring the entire cricket team, he has been patronizing the cricket team, and we have seen that how wonderfully they played. They also won the match. So, and in order to further contemplate over that, in order to further develop this conversation, I think Shahzad also wants to add something, because cricket is something he's very, very passionate about.
So what I did was, so I've taken out, because I wanted people to kind of reflect on this as well, and we have spoken about it even on that day. So it was back in 27 November, ladies and gentlemen, 2024, that Pakistan blind cricket actually kind of championed the T20 World Cup as well, and that too undefeated in the entire tournament. So I wanted to give them a brief of what actually happened. So Pakistan blind cricket team, ladies and gentlemen, has clinched their maiden Blind T20 World Cup, defeating Bangladesh by 10 wickets in the final held here at Multan Cricket Stadium on Tuesday. Wonderful. Bangladesh, who batted first, posted a total of 139 for the loss of 7 wickets. Arif Hussain emerged as the top scorer of Bangladesh, contributing 54 runs. Pakistan's bowling attack was led by Babar Ali, who actually claimed 2 wickets, while Mohammad Salman and Matiullah took 1 wicket each, restricting Bangladesh's side to a modest total.
Right, and why don't we go to Syed Sultan Shah Saab? So Syed Sultan Shah Saab, what inspired the team to achieve such a highest degree, I would say, pinnacle in the Pakistan blind cricket team? And how has your patronizing mentorship helped them achieve this amazing feat? Please go ahead.
Thank you very much for inviting me. The Pakistan blind cricket team is the #1 in the T20 in the world. And we also already won the 2 ODIs World Cup in 2002 and 2006. But we don't have a T20 World Cup title. This time we are organizing in the Pakistan. That's a very big occasion for us, and Pakistan team start their training near about 6 months ago. So they are doing very hard work and take part in the training camp last for 1 month in the Mirpur, and the coaches work hard work with them, and they trained highly skills and physical fitness. They already done a good work on them, and the boys are very energetic for this tournament and very excited for this tournament, and they played well all the matches, and they don't lose any match against any team, and Pakistan reached in the finals with the Bangladesh, and Pakistan beat them by 10 wickets. So we have also a very historical and very bright past, because the Pakistan team is the IPSA champion also as well in the host last 2023. Yes, 2023. And Pakistan beat India in the finals and league match as well. So boys are very motivated for this championship.
And why not, sir? Sultan Sahab, to be very honest, obviously, to kind of get to hear that Pakistan blind cricket team once again for the 3rd time have actually won another World Cup title for themselves, #1. There were facilitations in accordance from the Premier of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mia Mohammad Shahbaz Chief Saab, from the President himself, Mr. Asif Ali Zardari Saab as well, and the entire country actually stands behind our Pakistan's blind cricket team as well. But sir, while we are at it, what do you think is the role, if we are to speak about the role of the coaches, the support system, which actually kind of brings out such amazing performances of the players as well? And in addition to this, how do you think that we can further enhance our performances, or do you think that it's fine where we are as of now because we happen to be the world champions? Do you think that there shouldn't really be a debate about it now?
Yes, we have a very trained coaches, because they are qualified from the Pakistan Cricket Board, and they are already experienced work with the blind cricket team since 2010, 2009. So they are very experienced, and these coaches are also trained in Australia as well, Australian blind cricket team, and these coaches also went to Bangladesh, Nepal, and recently we are starting blind cricket in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is the first time they are participating in this World Cup, and they played well, and the credit goes to all our Pakistani coaches. So we have a very trained coaches and very experienced coaches in the Pakistan. So the sponsor's role is very important, and supporting role is very important, because if you have a sufficient money for the training, for the domestic, because the Pakistan Blind Cricket Council have a full busy domestic and most famous in the world, because we have a very strong domestic cricket. So then why the Pakistan players are perform well in the world arena, and every tournament we have won, and we also won the 15 bilateral series out of 17 with the different countries of the world. Pakistan 2-time visit South Africa and won 2-time England. We have already won, and Australia as well. So very energetic and very strong side of the Pakistan blind cricket team. So if we have a sufficient sponsorship and more facilities from the government side or from the civil society, then I hope that Pakistan team will play better in the future as well.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Sultan Sahib, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And certainly, if these are the kind of performances which will be given by the Pakistan blind cricket team, the entire nation will hearken for them. All of those facilitations that you've been talking about, inshallah, will reach to you in matter of time as well. But I think congratulations. The entire Pakistan nation vouches for our blind cricket team as well. We are proud of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And today is also 9th of December and we are commemorating another International Day of commemoration and the dignity of the victims of the crime of genocide and the prevention of the crime. So this International Day, we commemorate and dignify the victims of the crime of the genocide and the prevention of the crime to simply International Prevention Day. On this day, United Nations General Assembly established the Convention on the Prevention and the Punishment of the Crimes of Genocide. United Nations General Assembly has first recognized genocide as a crime under the international law in 1946. The day stresses that preventing genocide, crime against humanity, war crimes, and other serious violation of international law is a shared responsibility. And obviously, whenever we talk about the genocide, whenever we talk about the atrocities that are rolling in, that shows us that, the worst side of the humanity. But in this entire scenario, we can also see the best of the humanity. Now moving on to another very international or interesting news, and that is unfolding in the Karachi in Pakistan, which is the world's most beautiful ship, Amerigo Vespucci, docks in the Karachi.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this name resonates with me. The world's most beautiful Italian ship, Amerigo Vespucci, named after a 16th century explorer, has docked at the Karachi port for the first time. The 93-year-old Amerigo Vespucci's visit to Pakistan is a part of the 2-year voyage across 30 countries that started in 2023 and will end in 2025. The ship is considered as a masterpiece of the Italian naval architecture. During its stay at Port City, the ship will be accompanied by Villaggio, a mini expo showcasing modern Italian art, fashion and technology.
And certainly I think with the pronunciation of it, Hajra, do you think is it Vespucci or I mean it's so Italian. I don't know whether we can do justice with it or not. True. But if there are any Italian people out there, please do not mind that, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the beauty of live television as well. But I think it should be Vespucci, right?
Maybe you are right. Maybe you're right because we do have this Vespucci brands, right?
Amerigo Vespucci.
Yeah. So thank you so much for correcting me. But now moving on and unrolling the conversation, which is a very important conversation because we are witnessing it and experiencing it in our homes, in our households, across the families, in an environment, which is that how the prevalence of autism is increasing. There's a mushrooming growth of the diagnosis, and we are seeing that there's another phenomenon. I don't know if it's interlinked or not, but the increased screen time that our kids are being exposed from their birth, from their infancy to their teenagers, and that is unfolding a lot of these disorders or the disabilities that are happening within the children. So in order to unfold this conversation and how to deal with a child who has an autistic spectrum disorder and how to make sure that that child is also included in the mainstream activities, we are very glad that we have been joined by Dr. Junaid Jahangir. He happens to be the child specialist. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Junaid, and thank you so much for joining us.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me a chance to speak on such a crucial topic, which is autism.
Amazing energy early in the morning. So to get started with it, obviously this is after a long time that we are coming back to speaking about where, with all such disorders, unfortunately, this news just came in that, that there's been a mushrooming growth. First of all, let's figure it out. Why is there a mushrooming growth? Number one. And number two, do you think that with the diagnosis part of it, we are lacking behind?
Yes, many people don't even know what is autism. And most of the children, they present with a speech delay. And most of the children, they were not interacting with other children. They were not interacting with the parents. And mostly people, they are unable to identify these problems at the right time. Mostly the grandmothers tell the parents that with age and with the passage of time, the child will improve. Don't worry. Or people assume something else. There are a lot of assumptions and there are a lot of misconceptions about this disease. And most of the children who present to us in the clinic, they present late, and that's why the result becomes late. If the diagnosis is late, then the result will be late, and the incidence is increasing day by day.
All right, Doctor, number one, obviously, I think with the incidence of it, obviously it has to do quite a lot with the genetics of it. But while we are at it, you just mentioned that unfortunately, if people are going to come or delay, the treatment of that child who's actually on the spectrum disorder, how do you think it will impact his overall health? Or, if we are to speak about the spectrum disorder itself, do you think that, for example, we say a stitch in time saves nine, do you think that it can be better if parents can recognize it earlier and then come and seek for help? It will be a better solution for them?
Yes, the early the diagnosis is made, the better will be the results. But as I told you, that most of the parents, they are not able to recognize the early symptoms. That's why I'm very thankful to you for choosing this topic and giving me an opportunity to create awareness among the parents that please, everybody should know the early signs of autism. Like if your child is not maintaining an eye contact with you, if your child is not speaking at the appropriate time, like by the age of 1 year, we expect every child to say mama and baba. By the age of 8 months, we expect every child to look into your eyes, and we expect every child to see and to respond in the way when his name is called, like he should move himself, he should look into your eyes, he should respond you, he should smile, and he should uh, make a social interaction. So what we observe in these children is that they do not interact properly, they do not maintain a proper eye contact, they don't give you proper response when the name is called, and they do not prefer to make friends, and the speech is also delayed. Mostly these children, they don't even speak a single word.
Right, and Dr. Junaid, in order to capitalize the conversation, because you mentioned a very important concept within the undercurrents of this conversation, and that is social interaction. So now I want you, because when we were growing up, there was no social media, there was no screen time, and it's said in the English, it takes a village to raise a child. But now that village has been replaced by a digital village, right? And that is why that social interaction is replaced by a digital interaction, and that is not harboring their senses more. So as a doctor, please explain to us, is there any connection between the screen time and the autism spectrum disorder, or is it just one of the myths that needs to be debunked? Please go ahead.
It's not a myth at all. It's very, very true that screen induces autism. These mobile phones, on one hand, they're making our life easy, but on the other hand, they are disabling our children. Most of the parents, they give this mobile phone to a very young child. Even I have seen mobile phone at the age of 6 months. A 6 months baby is holding phone, an 8 months baby is holding phone, because the parents want them to get busy and they can do their own work. So the continuous use of screen is creating autism. This is a well-known factor which is proven by research. Even I have conducted research myself, and research have been conducted all over the world, that screen is leading to autism. Screen in any forms, whether it is cartoons, it is the games, or it is the iPad, whatsoever, any form of screen is
That's
leading.
exactly what I would, Doctor, that's exactly what I wanted to ask over here. Now, imagine that if you are going to go to the pre-COVID times, so 5 to 6 children will be on the autism spectrum disorder out of 10,000 children. Now, imagine that the figures are so staggering that almost 11.3% of the children out of 1,000 will be on the autism spectrum disorder. But when we are to kind of refer it with the screens and tablets and whatnot, where we say that, you know, that the kid won't really be social, no eye contact, won't be speaking to you, do you think that all of these things are being caused by the devices that we give to our children, unfortunately?
Yes, although there are other factors as well, but screen is the triggering factor. Screen is just like doing what oil flares a fire. So screen is flaring up, screen is triggering up the cases of autism. There are other factors, but screen is the most aggravating factor which leading to autism. And parents ask us why our child is using the screen. Because I tell them, because parents are using the screen. When the child sees parents enjoying the YouTube, Facebook dramas, Netflix, so they also want to enjoy that. So if we want that our children should not use the screen, we also need to reduce the screen.
Absolutely. And Dr. Saab, once, you know, the child has been diagnosed with the autism spectrum disorder, so now tell us, you know, how to deal with that child, because you say that that child has a limited interaction, or he's not interacting with the environment as much as a normal child should be, and I don't know what is the right word to say it out there, you know, and how should a parent manage that children, and what sort of supporting environment we can provide to those parents and to those children out there?
Well, let's start the treatment right from the mother's womb. Whenever there is a pregnant lady and she's expecting, the first thing which she needs to do is to reduce the screen exposure herself. Even I have seen pregnant ladies putting the mobile phone on their tummy and sleeping for the whole night, and they are using Netflix all the time throughout the pregnancy. So please make sure that no pregnant lady should use mobile phone. This is a radiation. Radiation has its own hazards. So the treatment starts right from the womb of the mother. And once the baby has been born, then you need to take certain measures right from the start. That first of all, give the breastfeed. Breastfeed reduces the incidence of autism. Avoid the toxins and unnecessary medication during the pregnancy time. Avoid radiations during the pregnancy time. And when the child is about 6 months old, then start interacting with your child. Start playing with your child. Give proper time to your child. Speak a lot of words to your child. Make an eye contact with your child. Do not give any screen to the child. And besides mother feed, after 6 months of period, give natural foods. No processed foods, no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners. Give natural foods to your child. And when the child is about 1 year old, then you should give ample time to the child. Nowadays, parents do not give ample time to their child. Give ample time to your child. Avoid unnecessary toxins. Avoid unnecessary radiations. And if still your child is late in speaking and interacting, and he or she has been labeled as autism spectrum disorder, then you should start early intervention. Early intervention means early therapy. That includes speech therapy, that includes behavioral therapy, that includes occupational therapy. There are therapists we have therapists that can give your child ample amount of time daily, and through therapy, they actually modify his or her behavior, and they teach child how to speak, and they teach how to do important healthy activities like writing, like coloring, like improving social interaction.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saab. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for having this wonderful awareness session around the autism spectrum disorder. And we are seeing that there's a high prevalence and there are lots of diagnostics that is coming up. and certainly we need to make sure that there should be a healthy balance between the screen time and between a child. And I know it's so very, very difficult task to juggle, because we adults often struggle with having a healthy screen time, but in order to give a more healthier lifestyle to our child, it is our utmost responsibility to be more responsible.
And we really need to do it, and we need to do it as a family. I think everybody needs to come together. This is where, you said that, that to raise a child, you need a village, you need your grandparents, you need your chachus, mamus, uncles, and everybody. But today, Hajra, I have something more interesting to share with you. Now, imagine that every time that we would wear jeans, we always see that there's this small pocket on top as well. So do you ever kind of thought about it, why do we have small pockets on our jeans?
Oh, I wish I was that self-aware, because I just randomly wear it over. But I do believe that you have an answer to that.
Exactly, I do. I finally have an answer, but it comes from Levi Strauss as well, one of the most amazing jeans brand, ladies and gentlemen. So Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis, the creator of blue jeans, added a small pocket back in 1873 to their original waist overalls, which was the original term they used for the denim pants when they started selling them. The pocket was designed to safely hold a pocket watch, which was a very useful and essential accessory at the time. Though pocket watches are no longer commonly used, the small pocket remains on jeans. And not just that, I actually thought that it is there for a purpose, and the purpose is to kind of hold coins in it.
Wow, wonderful.
But that's a
very interesting use, but I think with the passage of the time, things evolve, things change, and so does the technology. But now moving on, as a child and growing up, and I think as a teenager, we were really, really obsessed with the Ice Age, right? So mammoths topped the menu for the North American Ice Age people.
Wow.
Oh, wow. The earlier humans who spread across the North America during the last Ice Age put mammoths on the top of the menu.
Wow.
Researchers deciphered the diet of a woman who lived roughly 12,800 years ago based on the chemical clues in the bones of her son, whose remains were found in the southern Montana. The 18-month-year-old was still nursing at the time of his death, and his bone bore the chemical fingerprints of the mother's diet passing along through the milk. That's a very interesting piece of information. And since Shahzad talked about, fashion trends, changing, evolving fashion trends, he talked about, why there was a purpose behind the jeans. So, and I think the reason why...
There should always be a purpose behind whatever you want to buy, right?
Yeah. And the reason why I might not be that much invested with the jeans, the idea of the jeans, is because in South Asia, in Pakistan particularly, we women are very obsessed with the lawns and with the collections. And I think there is a beauty in the different colorful attires that we have. There's so much variety out there. And I think our fashion trends are so much popular that they are leading not just the South Asian region, but across the West, they're also getting very popular. So in order to talk further about Pakistan's fashion trends, and the one interesting trend that I see, that Urdu Shairi being printed on the clothes, how it's evolving, it's a merger of the attire and the contemporary arts. We're very glad that we have been joined by Ms. Salima. Feerasta, he happens to own a very well-followed blog called Karachista. Assalamu alaikum, Ms. Salima, and thank you so much for joining us all the way from the Karachi.
Walaikum salam. It's lovely to be here. I'm a big fan of the show, and I'm so glad to be on here. And I'm jealous of you enjoying the cold weather. It's still warm in Karachi.
Yeah, because I was in Karachi just a few weeks ago, and it was really warm out there as well.
Oh,
we
really?
still had to turn on air conditioner. But while we are at it, we certainly went onto your blog. It's amazing. You get to try almost all sorts of clothes and whatnot. But people these days, first of all, let's talk about the fashion trends. So Hajra spoke about the contemporary art being mixed with the conventional one, and the newer forms coming in, poetry all over, shirts and whatnot. How do you see fashion trends changing in our country, in our part of the world?
So the wonderful thing is that fashion has really evolved, and there's so much freedom for people to express themselves, which is what fashion is really about. What I feel is that currently there's a lot of freedom in what you can do. For formals, you'll go for long, dramatic silhouettes, but for casuals, you can wear short, you can wear fusion. There's so much choice. But I think that the issue that affects people more in terms of their fashion is just the rising prices, because even a simple laundry has become so expensive. And I understand the point of view of the designers, because costs are very high. But it does mean then you have to compromise somewhere, if not in design, then in fabric.
Right, and Ms. Salima, so we've seen Pakistan has a very rich history, of the culture, of the attire specifically, and we see that and I think in the recent years I've seen a shift coming from that very colorful sort of the fusion towards more neutrals and pastels. Do you feel that that trend is now shifting again with more merger or the fusion of more colorfuls? For example, the chunri design is getting very, very popular nowadays. It has always been very popular and a very integral part of Pakistan's art scene. So
Chudidar pajamas and whatnot. Yeah.
And chunri specifically, the Bhavalpuri chunri, how do you see this, fashion trends?
Times when particular arts and crafts become more popular. So at present, yes, chunri is very popular. Also, Kamdani, Mukesh is very popular, especially for formals. You mentioned how Urdu Shairi had also come in. That's a little, it is popular, but it's not as popular as it could be because people worry about the effect of people who can't read, who see these words and then perhaps misinterpret them, which there have been a couple of cases of.
Right, and Salima, when we talk about fashion scene, so I've seen this particular trend within the millennials and within the younger generation or people of our age, is that there's a shift going from, filling your wardrobes towards the concept of the pre-loved, right? How do you see this entire concept and the sustainable fashion, which is also diffusing into the Pakistan's art scene? Do you think it's a vibrant concept, or it will take some time to get adapted to the generation out there?
I think this is a very natural trend. You have some very good designers who are focusing on quality and saying, it's better to have fewer better things than to have fast fashion. You have the young generation who are very mindful of the environmental cost of fashion as well. So they don't want to be spending on too many things. There's a huge trend for thrifting as well, especially amongst the younger crowd. So they would buy, vintage outfits. People are digging into their grandmothers and their mothers' closets, bringing out old saris and kalidar dupattas and all sorts of things to reuse and recycle. Which also goes into my thing about how costs have gone up. So if you pull out a sari that was your grandmother's, you might find the fabric is much better than what you can find available in the market today.
Exactly. And Salima, in addition to this, there's another dialogue which me and Hajra, we would always speak about it, and that is now the fashion trends are not actually need-based, they are want-based. So in addition to kind of add to this, because you happen to be one of those people who right from 2013 till onwards, may it be cuisines, may it be fashion trends, you've been making sure that you post videos on that. So when we are to kind of talk about mindful fashion or mindful fashion trends which we need to acquire, how do you think that there's been a shift in more of commercialization and consumerism rather than all of this being need-based?
So I think it is partly the fault of people like me who are always posting new things. So people feel they need the latest trends. But if you go into the markets and if you go into the malls, you'll see this trend for there are certain stores and certain designers who are moving towards concentrating on natural fabrics like cottons and silks, away from the mass market. The mass market is focusing on sort of blended fabrics and organzas and those sort of things, which are not particularly nice to wear. So they're still chasing that high volume fashion, but the consumer is moving away from that. The consumer knows quality and they want something which they can pull out again and wear even 5 years on.
Right, and Salima, we've seen within, for example, the brands that we are talking about, and I think they have substantially compromised on the quality, because I myself have been buying and I feel that the thread count can be improved a lot better. So do you think in the wake of this entire development, and obviously they have to adjust the rising inflation into their production costs, in the wake of this entire equation, the local market is also getting a boost because there are some really amazing prints and designs out in the local market, and also in a more cheaper cost with a good quality out there, better quality out there?
I would like to see that, but I don't see it happening at the moment. I still feel because of the pressure of costs, people are compromising on quality. And I don't think that's a bad thing in some respects. It's fine to embrace blended fabrics or machine embroidery and go for the impact. You see that in the West with high street brands. But there have to be standards. And what I feel that many brands these days are doing are not producing things that people want to buy. And this is why you have to really if you go shopping, you have to go through the molds, you have to go through the designers to find the people who are really focusing on, even if they're using a blended fabric or if they're using machine embroidery, they're still focusing on artistry, they're focusing on the feel of the fabric, how nice it is to wear. Because after all, when you've spent money on something, you want something that you are going to want to pull out of the wardrobe and wear.
Exactly, and in addition to this, one last question, Salima, and that is that, I don't know, there's this debate most of the time in every household. So, for example, if there's one brand, who's actually produced this fabulous design, people would look to go towards other, probably shops which actually sells such sort of stuff as well to kind of copy those designs. Do you think that it actually kind of gives the, industry a more boom towards their businesses because of the fact that not everybody can afford those brands? So rather they'll come down, step down ahead and, go to any normal fabric store, get the cloth out and, go to the darzi and get it stitched as well. Do you think it's better for the economy as well that, that people are doing this? What's your take on this one? This is interesting.
I'm not a fan of replicas. So where someone's design, someone's artistry is copied, everything from the color to the embroidery to the cut, I'm not a fan of those. I think that's theft, honestly speaking. But in terms of leading designs and trends, that's natural. For example, Chanel will take out like a trend which will be copied by everyone from Zara to Massimo Dutti. This is abroad. So it's very natural for high street brands to be inspired and to copy major designers to a certain point. And that's okay. What I don't agree with is the replicas who will put up a designer's outfit and say, I will make this for you for half the price, because they are using inferior fabrics. They're trying to get the look, but if you look at them together, they're not the same. And they're stealing the designer's artistry, their work, and all the extra things designers put in, the marketing, the shoots.
That's very true, but Salima, I mean that there has been a lot of cases where even a Pakistani designer were also copying from the Western designers, but we will save that debate for some other time. But thank you so much, Salima, for being on our show, for giving us a very interesting insights on what is trending, especially in the field of fashion, because this field never gets old. So until next time.
One last thing towards the end, because we have been speaking about Shero Shairi and whatnot, so towards the end, there's this one couplet that I would actually want to say to all our viewers as well, that हम तुमसे मिलेंगे मगर एक शर्त पर, हम तुमसे मिलेंगे मगर एक शर्त पर, ना घड़ी तुम पहनोगे ना वक्त हम देखेंगे. Until next time, look after yourselves. It's a good morning. Have a great week ahead.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.